Hey, peace, and blessings. I definitely want to welcome you all back for another great episode of Square Table. This is where you come get back in your square, only at the Square Table, with myself, celebrity interviewer I Said It, and the legendary Mimie Acosta representing Atlanta. But unfortunately, today, we had an emergency with Mimie. She's fine, but she had a family emergency, so we're gonna keep her in our prayers. So, I miss Mimie not being on the show, but we're gonna always, we gotta do what we gotta do. The rules of entertainment. The show must go on. And with that being said, I also want to just note that my friend Heather, she had an emergency with her mom, and that unfortunately we're gonna keep her in her prayers too, in our prayers. So Heather will be on the show a little later. But with that being said, we still do have two fantastic guests, two friends of mine, two celebrities in the industry and the world of business. And I'll actually bring them in one by one. So with that being said, first I also have to give my condolences to my cousin relative David Jones, who unfortunately had a heart attack today and was found in his car. And I'm sending my prayers to my cousin, which is her birthday, which is her ex-husband. You know, um Happy birthday, Renee. I'm so sorry this happened on your birthday. My prayers to little David, my condolences. I love you all, you know, um, and may he rest in peace and continue to rise in power. But with that being said, you know, um, it's time for this show. And again, this is called the Square Table Talk Show, where you come get back in your square only at the square table. So today, our first guest I want to bring in today, and her name goes by Crystal, also AKA Crystal Light. So I want to bring her on the show real quick and just welcome her to the show.
Hey, thank you
Peace.
so much. Thank
Hey,
you.
peace, Queen.
Wealthy risings, wealthy evening. Peace and blessings to everybody. Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yes,
So
absolutely. I'm so grateful to have you here. How's your day so far?
it's been amazing. Today was a day of self-reflection. Um, I was trying to stretch out time,
Hmm.
bend time a little bit. But it's been
Right.
really amazing. And I'm a giver, so I always give a lot of encouragement to people. And today I had people just pouring into me in just ways that they didn't know. So it was really amazing. How about yours?
No, so it's been pretty difficult and challenging, but nevertheless, like I say, we're gonna get through it. So with that being said, let me bring in our next guest. Um, so I want to just bring in Heather. Hey, welcome, Heather. Glad you can make it.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
Good, good. So,
Hey.
I'm bringing everybody in one by one right now. Next after you, I'm going to bring in our third guest, but I just want to say hello. Appreciate you. Thank you for being on the show. I know your day has also been challenging and difficult. So, it's kind of asinine to ask, how's your day? But, I want to send my blessings to you, though, and just remind you that I'm glad that, my prayers with everybody that in your family and everything. And I'm glad you can make
Yes, no problem.
it. Yep, absolutely.
Welcome.
So third, let me go ahead and bring in our third guest today. Um, my friend here in Chicago as well. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm feeling great. So far, so good. Happy to be here.
I heard that. I heard that, man. Always happy to have you. Network with you. You know, what I mean, we network a lot of late, and so thank you all for being on the show today. Heather, just update. My friend Mimi, she had an emergency. Unfortunately, rushed her mom to the hospital, so she won't be present today. So we're gonna hold it down. And basically, what we're doing is again, this is about awareness, April Awareness Month. But before we get into what the topics are, we're gonna actually go around the table, and I want everyone to introduce themselves and try to keep it under 3 minutes, please, and just remind people who you are, how people can support you. Everything I do is ladies first. So Benjamin gonna bring it in, with the finish line. Like this is a relay. So we're gonna start with Crystal, then she gonna pass the baton to Heather, and then Heather gonna pass the baton to Benjamin, straight like that. So please, first, Crystal, could you please just remind people who you are and how they can support your platform?
Okay, so thank you so much. Absolutely. So my name is Crystal Light. They call me Light or Crystal Flames Light. I am a neurodiverse woman, mother of 5 children. My youngest is 10, and I have 2 grandchildren who are, I think, also going to be neurodiverse. And all that really means is that we function, our brains operate a little differently, which leads me into the Awareness Month. I'm focusing on autism. My business, Rescue Angels, is my business, and we just honor the uniqueness of each individual by helping them center and become one with their inner business so that they can be really successful in their outer business. Um, and so, one of the ways you can support me is you can follow me at Crystal Nance on Facebook. You can also follow me. I'm on TikTok, which is the Lighthouse, DA Lighthouse 23. And that's how you can follow me. So, thank you.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, and God bless you. And salute to everything that you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I really am.
Thank you.
And just for the people in the back, all the way in the back, remind them where are you tuning in from today?
Oh, I am tuning in from Massachusetts, North Central Massachusetts represent. Thank you so much. Oh, I will also give my email to you. They can reach me through email as well, and I'd be happy to,
Okay.
network with them. So
Okay. What's your
thank
email?
you. So my email address is that's MYBIZ business. Well, my biz rescue angels with a S. So MYBIZRESCUE, the word angels at
Hmm.
proton.me, and that's where you can reach me.
Okay. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, no, thank you. Heather, please remind the people who you are and how people can support your platform as well and where you represent it from.
Yes, my name is Heather Klaus, and I'm with Diversified Financial Solutions, and I'm representing Lincoln, Illinois. Um, I basically lived in Bloomington, Illinois all my life, but I moved down to Lincoln in 2013 with my fiance. And my platforms for social media are all at Heather, Heather, the word with, WITH, D as in diversified, F as in financial, S as in solutions. And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter or X, Instagram, YouTube, um, Pinterest.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Snapchat is a little different. I don't know why, but I had to put the MK at the end because I also do Mary Kay. So that's kind of the platforms that you can find me at. My website is D as in diversified, F as in financial, S as in solutions, LLC.net. And my email address is info at dfsllc.net. You can find me on all of those platforms, and also on YouTube, it's Heather with DFS. You can find me on there also. And this evening, I'm going to talk about stress. A lot of people don't understand that you can go through stress and not realize you're going through it, and it can really ruin your day, and it can also ruin your health and your life.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Heather. And you know, um, yeah, just thank you so much. And yeah, we definitely gonna get into the topic. And thank you for reminding people, what you'll be speaking about today. So last but never least is my buddy Benjamin. So thank you so much, Benjamin. Please, one time for the people all the way in the back. Please tell everybody where you from and how they can support your platform. Remind them who you are.
Hey guys, great to be here. My name is Benjamin Scott, representing Chicago, Illinois as well. And also, I'm an autism ambassador for Autism Speaks and for Autism Awareness. And everybody can find me on Instagram at benjamin.scott, Facebook under my name, Benjamin Scott, YouTube under Benjamin Scott Sneaker Jams, JAMZ, not SZ. And also you can find me on TikTok at Benjamin.Scott1988.
I heard that. I heard that. And man, do you had a recent show or you got an upcoming show? I heard with fashion, right?
Yes, I do have an upcoming runway show this Friday.
Okay, congratulations. And what number is this?
This will be my 59th runway
Mm,
show.
let's go, Benjamin. 59.
That's
Hmm.
amazing.
Almost
That's
That's
at 60.
amazing.
Almost at
amazing.
60. Congratulations, brother. Happy for you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing how people can follow you and support.
It's always my pleasure.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you again, for supporting me and walking in our tribute to women event tour fashion show. You did great. You know what I mean? Really appreciate you. Always proud of you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so with that being said, it's time to just kind of get into what the awarenesses are for the month. And so if I may, this is the list, and I'm gonna put it on the screen for everyone as I read it. And I'm just gonna read the titles. Um, and this is just simply a screenshot of what the awarenesses are for this month to remind you all of kind of what we're gonna be speaking about today. And I'm gonna just kind of, go with the flow and what these things mean to me when it comes to topics. So first is National Sexual Assault Awareness Prevention Month, Stress Awareness Month, National Minority Health Month, Alcohol Awareness Month, National Autism Acceptance Month, and National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And when I hear these titles, man, it's no one that in particular that kind of jumps out because all of them are very serious. That's why it's considered a part of the awarenesses of the month. You hear me? But because I know a lot of women and obviously men can be sexually assaulted, as well. But I've heard so many horror stories from women in my net within my network of them telling me how they was assaulted and sexually abused, and it's just this is the awareness month to remind men and women to just be careful. You know what I mean? It's awful for any woman and any man to have to live through that. You know what I mean? And it's just really sad. And there's really no particular formula to prevent anything in life. You know what I mean? All we can do is try to be safe, be aware, be cognizant of the people that you're around, try to be more mindful of, the type of people that you hang out with, do a background check on certain people, if you're going to spend personal or private time with people, because you sometimes, and sometimes what's crazy, you could do a background check on someone, and still they may have just become this person. They may be going through so much stress in their life. This is the person, the violent person they have grown into, what I mean, based on things that they've been through. Because um, people who are in pain hurt people hurt people. That's what they say, right? So that's what it ended up happening in our community. People who don't know how to express themselves, or try to get help, or know who to trust to get help from, end up hurting other people in the community. And what it turns into in translation is now we have an assaulted, hurt, and abused community of people. No matter what culture you come from, this is something that's universal of people being assaulted and taken advantage of. When it comes to stress, you know, hey, I just found out one of my relatives' dad. I can easily be stressed all the way out, but I refuse to be stressed. You know what I mean? We have to find a way to push through, and whatever clutch you need in your life to help push through, whether you have to just walk away sometime, talk to somebody that you trust sometime, whatever you have to do to deal with that stress, do not let it overcome you because you are bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? You are powerful than that. You are God's child. Remember that. You know what I'm saying? We can do it. It takes time and it's not easy, but through just prayer, you know, have prayer, have faith, you know what I mean? And if you don't um a person who prays a lot, try to incorporate that or meditating or chanting or something into your life, reading a book, whatever it is, whatever outlet you can to help prevent anxiety, because that's real too. So that's all I'm gonna kind of speak on. And just, of course, when it comes to Alcohol Awareness Month, man, that's something very serious. Child abuse, very serious. So, but we'll talk a little bit more, everyone, about some of the other topics. But first, I want to go to Heather, and I want to ask you, because you said you want to speak about the stress for Stress Awareness Month. What comes to mind when you hear Stress Awareness Month? In your own words.
When I think about stress, that could be in different areas, financially, your spouse or your significant other, your children, your job, health conditions, um, you know, just everyday life. If something is going on with you, you can be stressed out about it. And it's better not to try to get too stressed out because it potentially can cause you a lot of health problems. And one of the things that I think about for the health problems is, you can potentially have a stroke or heart attack because you're so
Mm,
stressed out and you're letting your blood pressure get so high, or you're letting your heart rate get so high. And that is not a good thing. You don't want to pass away or have a stroke or heart attack because you are stressed out. You, like you said, you kind of need to meditate and pray and be able to somehow find a way to get over it. And some of the ways that you can potentially try to relieve your stress is do some type of exercise, do some type of reading, if you're a spiritual person, in your Bible, or whatever type of spiritual reading you do, you can do that also. And or go for a walk, or if you know of a counselor, talk to them about what's going on and try to figure out what the best outcome is for your type of situation. And
mm,
I said it already knows this information, but I won't get into too many details about it because it'll take me a long time. But I understand stress a lot for health conditions, because in June of 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 3 sigmoid colon cancer. And
mm,
the doctor was not nice about it. I mean, she was nice in telling me what happened, but she wasn't really nice of telling me, well, you might have to do chemo and you might not. Um, if it's stage 4, it might be aggressive and you could potentially die. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So that can be very extremely stressful. But thank goodness it was
yes.
just stage 3, and I got through the chemo treatment. And I do have some health conditions behind it, but it's better than passing away. So I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that I'm alive, and I'm glad I'm getting through it, and I trust in God. And I really was praying a lot, and my family members were also. I was praying that it was not that I had to do chemo because I know what that can cause, what kind of problems that can cause. And then in November 22, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So
Mm,
yeah. So I've been through both of those, and I know that can be really stressful. I know also like relationships can be stressful, but you need to work through them and find, even if you have to find a mediator, someone that can be in between you two to figure out what is the best thing to do, you know, and work through your problems for relationship issues and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that you can do to not have so much stress. And I found that exercising really does help. When I was going through all of my health conditions, even though, and I put on a lot of weight due to my health conditions, I was determined to get rid of that weight because I've never been to 11 in my whole entire life. And now I'm down to like 130. So I'm very grateful for what I've been through. It has shown me a lot and it has made me grow. And I appreciate everybody that kept me in their prayers and, kept me in their thoughts. So, but thank you.
wow. Thank you so much for even sharing that with us, Heather, to remind us what you have been able to survive through, just showing your strength and your willpower, and the blessing that God has for you, and that, no doctor can determine what our timeline is. Only God
Right.
above can tell us and controls that at the end of the day. So God bless you for your strength. And I'm so
Thank you.
proud of you. And thank you for sharing that. That was great advice, Heather.
Yeah. And another thing, just one quick thing. Another thing that kept me going is my business, Diversified Financial Solutions, because I offer accounting, bookkeeping, tax preparation, and payroll. And that really kept me going because I was on my doctor. I said, look, tax season starts at the end of January, the beginning of February, and I need to be done with my chemo. We have to get this done. I don't care what you guys got to do, get me done and over with. And so we had a little hiccup where I got sick. So then I wasn't able to go for that week or whatever. So it got postponed, but I got done on February the 18th of 2021, which I was happy. And, my clients were really understanding. And back in June of 2020, if you guys remember, that's when the pandemic happened and we had until July 15th. Well, I told them, I said, I'm not for sure how I'm going to be doing around July the 15th. So I kind of need to get everybody done by June 26th. So everybody was, willing to get it done because they wanted me to get their taxes done for them so they didn't have to, get an extension. So I was happy for that. So
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. And we're gonna have more of the show to speak about more about you to elaborate and expand on your opinion. But let me please just move on to someone else as well. Thank you for
okay,
sharing that. That's
no
very
problem.
detailed, great information, Heather. Benjamin, please, I understand that you're here to speak about autism awareness, where you are an ambassador. So I'm sure you have a lot to say. So, hey, the floor is yours, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
It's always a pleasure. And this is the biggest mission of my life. Ever since I was diagnosed with autism in 2007, I was 19 years old at that time.
Mm,
I thought there was something wrong with my emotions. Like, did I go angry? Do I go sad and crazy? When I found out I was diagnosed with autism, I have a slightly autism, but I'm still normal like everybody else. And I've been sharing my story to everybody out there, showing that it doesn't matter if we have autism, Asperger's syndrome, or any kind of disability because we are human beings and we can still make our dreams come true. Remember,
amen.
you can make a difference because we can all be independent every day. I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm still spreading the word to everybody about autism awareness.
And man, if I may, you've been doing a fabulous and most incredible, outstanding job, man. You know what I mean? Just being a pillar and the eye of this condition that has affected so many people, man, and just reminding people that is not an excuse why you can't do anything. You have showed and superseded. You know what I mean? The way that you presented yourself with a person with autism is just amazing. You know what I mean? Walking now 59 runways, right? You know what I mean? Having your own show
Mhm.
as a host. You done so
Mhm.
many things, man. I'm so proud of you, Benjamin. Keep going, man. And you already know you got my support.
I appreciate that. It really, really means a lot. I'm just showing everybody that I know autism is a word, but we are still amazing. Now let's say this again.
Yes.
Autism is just one word, but we are still amazing. And always remember that. Don't let no hater get the best of you. Staying positive is the only way to win every day. And
Yep.
nobody, and I mean nobody, can stop me. Nobody can stop Benjamin Scott or the mission I have been going on since day number one.
You're doing a great
Yeah,
job.
absolutely.
Yes.
Great job, man. For real, for real.
Hmm.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much for sharing that. And we're gonna double back with you, as everybody get, more moments to speak. But let me move on to Crystal. Yeah, so Crystal, again, when you hear these topics, what does it mean to you? And whatever you would like to speak about when it comes to April Awareness Month.
Well, it definitely means awareness to me, like to be aware, but not just aware. Like when I think about the divine, the Most High, I'm very spiritual. Um, I've heard it be said that that some people would call the divine energy awareness.
Yep.
And um, what's so powerful about that, as I've been in my journey walking forward, as in my meditation sessions, to make sure that I'm releasing all of this ease so I don't develop disease, I realized that one of the key components that seems to come up over and over and over again is when you remember that you're connected to awareness, you can then detach and remove yourself from any type of attachments, whether it's stress, uh, you're angry about something, a bill, or this or that. I mean, stress has come to kill and destroy many things. But stress can also be used in a good way. We get to manipulate it and maneuver it. So my awareness to the oneness of the God inside of me is what frees me and empowers me to do the things I do, which is I promote other people that are before me. I do a lot of networking and I make divine connections. And I'm going to say that this is a divine appointment. Thank you, Isaidit, for
Mm.
being so diligent. I have to say this. Thank you so much. I say this often to the people I meet that are put in my path.
Yeah.
Thank you for being diligent in what you are called to do. This is very important. This is very powerful. And even the name, I said it. That is so powerful. Heather, thank you so much for helping people to remember, RE hyphen member. When I think about the word remember, I think about pieces of a puzzle put together. And I believe that we're all here to help remind each other of what we already know. And the reason why I believe that is because I believe that we're encoded and it's been scientifically proven. I'll give you an example. I once read a story about how 70,000 books were downloaded into a piece of DNA. It was like a nail, like a
Right.
fingernail, and then they were
Right.
uploaded into the cloud. And so it is just amazing that we have all this data, all this greatness in us. And then the same thing with my brother over there. You are so powerful. I'm so grateful for you standing and shining up, standing strong and just saying, look at man, we're out here, we're making a difference. And just not accepting the systematic programming to define you and breaking out your own matrices. Because the more you become aware, the more you become free. And so that's what my
Amen.
business, Rescue Angels, thank you. That's what my business as Rescue Angels is about. It's about the business of minding yourself and on so many levels. Like I had a interview yesterday with a man named Hikma L. And he's a Muir, and he was talking about a lot of different things and just simple things like sole proprietorship, like proprietorship, meaning and aka also soul, SUL. That I mean, it is so deep. Everything is intertwined, and we may not realize it yet. But I believe that people such as yourselves, those who walk in light and love, we we shine that light and we bring transformation. This is bringing transformation in itself, just the essence of
Right.
who you are. Your being brings transformation. And then it moves on. My business Rescue Angels comes to the actual um, collaborations and pointing people in the right direction to set up their trust funds, to set up their LLCs, to set up their nonprofits, whatever they want to do. What if they already have it set up? Well, making those divine connections. I've set up tables with multi-million dollar conversations where I was there.
Right. Right.
I'm a connector. I'm a connector. Down to
Right.
everyday people that we may not think anything of. And and it all matters. Every single piece, every single human matters. And so that's what we do.
Right.
I promote, I bring people together and I collaborate and that's what I do. So
Yep, and that's the reason why we all here too, because that's what we all are experts at. Benjamin does such a well bringing people together. What I mean, continue to network. Heather does the same thing, and you all know what I do. That's why we're here today. But we're hearing because God has us hearing. God has woke us up all this morning for us all to be here. So most definitely that's what we're hearing. But thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for the compliments to all the guests and of course myself. I appreciate you. You know what I mean? And
Thank you.
I kind of want to, continue to also speak on some of the other awarenesses of the month because that's what the conversation's about today. And when it comes to National Child Abuse Prevention Month, my message they come to mind because I'm non-scripted. Everything I do, I just speak from my spirit. I speak from my heart. I speak from what I feel, my mind. And when I hear national child abuse, I feel sad because it's like, dag, if you didn't want to be a parent, why are you a parent? Don't abuse children like they didn't ask to be here. None of us asked to be here. You know what I mean? We were all children at one time. And a lot of us have been through a lot of things that we have either shared publicly or didn't share publicly. But the fact is, um, child abuse has run rapid in our communities around the world. You know what I mean? From people being kidnapped. Speaking on the story where and it's not about race at all. You know what I mean? But where a set of parents had adopted two children just to abuse them. You know what I mean? Had them like in a shed and was not properly feeding them and had them tied up and would beat on them and starve them and just do different things of forms of abuse and did this for years until the authorities and neighbors found out, you know what I mean? And it took too long, you know what I mean? And thank God they survived, but it took way too long. It's like, well, obviously they're not going to school. And I thought that, I'm a person, I don't have any children, so I don't know the whole, you know, um, process of enrolling your children in school. But I'm like, how do you not know that these people had children that they adopted and they weren't even attending school? You know what I mean? They wasn't like registered to be homeschooled. So that means that obviously somebody should have been checking on these kids, and there's not enough people to protect children out there. You know what I mean? And it's just awful and just sad. And that's what comes to mind when I hear about National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And also, when it comes to alcohol awareness, um, I'm grateful to say I can raise my hand. I am not an alcoholic, but I've had my share of too much alcohol at certain times. And a particular time, that's actually how I got pancreatitis back in 2021. And despite I've had many drinks my whole life, it was no big deal. But it was over because I lost two brothers of mine had drowned in the Kankakee River, and it just like I've had a lot of people die in my life. I mean, that's part of life, right? You know what I'm saying? The longer you go, the more people you're gonna know, unfortunately, that pass. That's just how it is. It's part of evolution, right? But this one really hurt because it was during COVID. And when everybody was passing from COVID, they unexpectedly drowned in the Kankakee River. And it just like really got the best of me. And I turned to alcohol and I drank too much alcohol than I should have been drinking. Me and my friends, you know what I mean? And it led to affecting my body in such a way to where I had pancreatitis. And so, that's something that I had to, overcome. And man, pancreatitis, that shit hurts. Excuse my Chinese.
That's okay.
That
Sometimes we
shit
just don't
Yeah,
hurt.
give a shit.
I've had a little bit of that. It does hurt. Yeah.
That
Hey,
shit
sometimes we
that
don't give
shit
a shit.
hurt.
Hmm.
Right. That shit hurt, man. Like it was bad. And it was just like, man, like, am I gonna die? Like, what's going on? Like it was so much stomach pain. And I've had digestive issues with my stomach over the years growing up, but this was a different type of pain. And I'm like, what the heck? And then so I say all of that just to say, like, hey, do not turn to drugs, do not turn to alcohol when you have stress, when you have problems, because it's all coincides and related to each other. Stress, drugs, alcohol, abuse, everything's tied and connected as we're all tied and connected with each other through energy, as you know, Crystal Light was speaking about a little bit. But we all connected, and so this is what's on my mind. I do want to definitely double back with Heather, Benjamin, and Crystal to speak a little bit more. So Heather, just go back in line. What more would you like to speak on to expand on what you were saying, please, about today's topic?
Well, just to expand on the children that are being abused.
Yes.
I know that Law and Order is fake. It's a made up story. But
Yeah.
have you ever noticed like some of those stories you hear about them in the actual news or on social media or whatever, and they're actually coming to light more and people are getting arrested, which I'm so happy that they're getting arrested because these parents need to be accountable for what they're doing to these children. And like you said, if they did not want children, then why did they have them? Or if they could not, they didn't, I don't want people to have abortions. No, that's not what I'm saying. They could give them up for an adoption. I know that would probably be hard because you had that baby growing in your stomach for 9 months, but it's just that, it's just terrifying to hear on all these kids that are being tortured, or
Mm,
these crazy parents driving the kids into the lakes and just killing
mm,
them. I'm like, oh my gosh, why don't you just take that kid to the fire department? I think it's only for babies, but hey, it might be for bigger kids. Take them to the fire department or the police station and tell them I can't take care of this child no more, and
right.
not torture them and, do stupid stuff to them. That just sickens me so much. But, Law and Order, I know it's completely fake, but, you hear about those stories and then you hear about them happening in the news and it just kills me because there's so many parents that can't have children and they want to adopt, and it's very hard to adopt nowadays. So, about that, anything about like stress and stuff, people need to find different ways to deal with stress so that it doesn't get so bad that they don't start, doing drugs and alcohol, because, that will affect them in a different way and can cause more health problems and cause more problems. And if they're married, it can cause problems in their marriage and, with their children and stuff and them seeing them doing it. And, the saying, monkey see, monkey do. So
Right.
if
Exactly.
they get older, they might do the same things. And I've seen some children like that, that they saw their parents drinking or smoking or whatever. And since in Illinois, and I know all states are not like this, but since in the state of Illinois that they legalized marijuana, you know,
Mm,
parents might be doing it more frequently and they might be doing it in front of their children and monkey see, monkey do. They'll grow up and do the same thing. So, you got to be very cautious about what you do in front of your children. And then also, when they get to the age where they're talking, they can go to school and tell their teachers or other children on what their parents are doing. So you got to be very careful what you do, especially in front of children. So, but
yeah,
thank
we
you.
definitely come from a copy. You welcome a copycat society. When you say monkey see, monkey do, it's definitely a copycat society. We live amongst a lot of followers. There's always been more followers than leaders, and all of us here, we're obvious leaders. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Everyone that's been on the show or have leadership skills. You know what I mean? When it comes to you, Benjamin, how would you like to continue to expand on either autism or, what I mean, speaking on some of the other subjects about the awarenesses of this month, sir?
I want to bring everybody together and show what autism awareness is all about because this is no joke. This is the real deal. And of
Mm,
course, I've been hearing Star Trek actor William Shatner said that autism is not real. And I was like, I did not like that. Seriously, I did not like that. So I said to myself, it's time for me to show him what autism awareness is all about. That is why
mm,
I've been doing a lot of videos, speeches, and
mm.
share my story to everybody out here so they can share their story to kids and to their families about autism awareness. This is no joke. This is the real deal. When I mean for real, oh baby, I mean for real. No questions asked.
I heard that. I heard that. Yeah, man, you got to stand on that. In life, many people would um, try to cover up or, saying disregard, what I mean, the truth or what others go through because they don't have to go through it. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what others feel. I don't know what you feel. You don't know what I feel. In all fairness and respectfully, you know what I mean? We all go through what we go through in life. And It's not fair. It's just not fair for anyone to claim or to, act like, what someone is their condition is, that's not what they feel or what they go through. So, that's the type of society we live in, man. It's just a very unfair society. Crystal, please, if you may, because speak a little bit about, more about some of the awarenesses of this conversation today.
Okay, so when I think about the awareness, I think everybody made really valid points. I'm going to take it at a different angle though. I think that awareness needs to be, I think we should have an awareness month every month. Like they do have awareness months, but I think that this should should always be brought up, but not to not to pick apart the problem so much, but to find ways, if we're gonna pick it apart, like to restore. When I think about like a topic of child abuse awareness, I grew up with a ton of abuse as a child, and I recovered from it, and it was not right. But being a parent and being around other parents who are upstanding parents, and they love their children, I also understand and understand that when there is a lack of family support, community support, there's a lack of village support, things can get very overwhelming. And when you have children, I know most people that have children, they wanted to have their child. They didn't know that they
Mm,
were going to encounter all of these different scenarios. They didn't know that their dreams that they thought were their dreams may appear to become systematically crushed by the system. And there's a lot of things that happen in people's lives, like you said, that hurt them. So hurt people, and heal people. And that's a fact. And I think that more um, community healing groups need to be uh, created. I am part of one. I'm actually a compassion coordinator with a program called Can We Talk? If you guys would like more information, I will get that to I said it. They give grants and they're based in different areas in Massachusetts. They're out of Tennessee too. And what we do there is we provide a safe space for people to come and talk it one at a time for about 3 or 4 minutes. And they can we end with a little bit of music per session. And if someone really needs to talk to someone, like a therapist, we have therapists on hand so that they can talk. Because a lot of people, they don't feel that they can talk. There is a lack of bearing one another's burdens because how can you bear one another's burdens when you can't be vulnerable? Well, when you don't even know yourself, like be, how can you even address a wound if you can't even acknowledge a wound? If there's no hospital to go to
mhm.
address those type of wounds. I mean, there's so many levels to this. And so I think the awareness piece, I think that we need to be constantly aware. And the only way that you could be condition consistently aware is to be able to tap into your emotional intelligence, aka empathy. How much empathy do you have? How I think we need to teach people empathy. How do you teach people empathy? Having neurodiverse children and my youngest being neurodiverse, I realized that my daughter is not as empathic. She doesn't show a lot of empathy. And I'm full of empathy. And it's like, how do I show her this? How do you teach people empathy? And so there's many conversations to be had with it. And I think that the experience of life can be taken very personal. And when we take things personal, we internalize them. And it's like we're eating food and we're trying to digest the situations that happen or have happened, and they play out differently. And if you don't have the right support system, things will continue to go on and on and on. But it's not just a support system. The individual really needs to get to know who they are and love on themselves and understand that they're just as valuable and that their circumstances don't define them. It's a circumstance. That's it. Circumstance.
Right,
And so there's so many levels to this. And I think that restorative justice, which is also um, combined in the My Business Rescue Angels. everything needs to be restored. Restoration to me is like balancing the pH in my body. We've got to look at things thoroughly, and then it's case by case. I also think it's case by case. So when I think about and then there are case by case situations where people intentionally do not have it in their heart to do right, like child abuse. They intentionally have a way of thinking that has turned rancid and moldy, that they want to destroy other people. And
Right.
I mean, they want
And
to.
I'm sorry, Crystal. Let me interrupt you for a second. Let me get some more opinions real quick of some before the show comes to an end soon. But no, thank you so much for all of that. You know what I mean? If I could, Benjamin, you know what I mean, if you could continue to expand on, things that Crystal was saying, uh, um, in reference to what the topic is and the conversation about the topics that we speak about awareness of the month, please. And just a reminder, real quick, the awarenesses of the month is National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, Prevention Month, I'm sorry, Stress Awareness Month, National Minority Health Month, Alcohol Awareness Month, National Autism Acceptance Month, and National Child Abuse Prevention Month. You know, um, would you like to continue to speak on any more of those, Benjamin?
Well, I have to say, not only Autism Awareness Month is very important to me, it's important to everybody, including sexual assault awareness, alcohol awareness, in every awareness throughout April. This is important to everybody. It's seriously very important to everybody. We must share that awareness to everybody, not only every month, but every day as well, every year. We cannot stop. We have to continue the mission because the
Yeah,
mission is very important to all of us. This is the time for people to listen. If they don't listen, they're missing out on it. It is that
yeah,
time for people to wake up and just continue the mission and spread the word to everybody throughout the community, throughout the world about every awareness throughout April.
yeah. No, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that too. That's
Yeah.
very keen right there because you're right. Just like as an example, Black History Month may be a month, but it's really 365. And everything that represented in the month of April as an awareness, whether it's January, February, and throughout the rest of the months, only because it's designated in one month does not mean that we should not be making it aware, like Benjamin said, throughout the entire year. That's 365 days a year from anything, that is considered an awareness. And like Crystal was saying, we need to continue to stay aware of the awarenesses, you know what I'm saying, all the time. So, you both kind of spoke on that. Heather, if you like to continue to expand on any of the topics of the month.
Yes, I think that all these awareness for April should be talked about each month versus just in April, because people are not aware of it. And if you only talk about it one month, then they might not be aware of what they can do to prevent that from happening. I know, like with alcohol awareness, a lot of people might turn to alcohol or drugs due to whatever is going on in their life because, they're down and out. They don't know how else to get out of it. So they just drown themselves in alcohol and drugs, which, there's other ways to get out of it and there's other things they can do. I know a lot of people don't like to talk to counselors, but, you could talk to a counselor or, if it's a child that's attending school, they can talk to their counselor to find out what they can do, because some kids learn that in high school. And so they need to learn that that can ruin their life if they continue that direction. And, either they can end up in jail or prison or something like that. And they don't want that. So they need to take over their life and make sure that they're doing the correct things so that they're not doing that. And, them going on, if they're, a senior and they're going on to college, because I have two nephews that are going on to college, and I keep on telling them, if you want a good job and you want to be able to, get a good education, then, you need to make the right choices. So don't get down with your friends because they might not be making the right choices, and you don't want to look like an outcast, but you also don't want to go down that road. So you just have to be careful of that, and about uh, sexual, sexual assaults and stuff, you know, um, sometimes you hear in the news, it's the way that the female dress and, or whatever. No, I'm sorry. That is not true. You should never sexually assault a female, or even males nowadays can be sexually assaulted, but you should not be sexually assaulted because of any reason. You know, if the female says no, the female says no. If the male says no, they say no, and you don't do anything. You walk away because you don't want to be
Right.
put in that position. So, there's a lot of things that you can do in order not to be in that position. And you really need to think about it. So, if I do this, what could potentially happen? Or if I do this, what potentially can happen? You got to be a devil's advocate. And, a lot of people need to learn that because that would help them in the long run. Some people don't understand that. They're like, oh, well, I'm young. It won't affect me or whatever, or I'll get over it and everything will be okay. No, you've seen too many people, you know, that going to jail or prison because of what they did when they were younger, and you don't want to be put in that position. You don't want to live your life like that. I mean, and for the people that have been put in jail and prison, I'm not saying anything bad about them, and they had to learn the hard way, basically. So you don't want to learn the hard way.
No, definitely don't want to learn the hard way. That's yeah,
Yeah,
it's deep.
man. Mhm.
You know, I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Crystal.
I want to just thank you. I just want to just continue that conversation that you were having, Heather. Like I always talk to people and I say, everything is a seed. Everything is a seed. Your thought is a seed. Your actions are a seed, and it will grow. And what it grows, and then how it's harvested, and what you do after that. I mean, it all makes it all adds up. It's all going to have an effect of somehow, in some way. And then what you do, it just goes on and on and on. What you do from that, how you react, how you respond, it's a seed. And I think people being aware that every single thing we do is a seed, and it's related to vibration and frequency. That's why the works we all must be diligent in working our individual gardens, our garden, our garden. We need to be mindful because what is inside will definitely come outside. And even
Mhm.
transference, it's real. Transference, it's
Yeah.
scientifically proven. Genetics are transferred, but before genetics are transferred, they found out that trauma is transferred too by studying mice who they put through trauma that their generations to come or were affected. I mean, so I'm big into frequency and vibrations and
Right.
sound resonance and all that, and just being aware and just putting it out there. So thank you for sharing. This is an amazing, amazing conversation.
Yes.
I want to
Thank
add
you.
one more thing to it. I want to add one more thing before we go. That's why we have to continue the mission. It's not
Yeah.
every month, it's every day. I was in 365 days a year. We cannot stop. We have to keep going. We have to share these awareness to everybody out there because how would they learn? Seriously, how will they learn?
Absolutely.
It's about
Hmm.
time for people to open their eyes, listen with their ears, and even have a voice. Even I have a voice on autism awareness. We all have a voice on every awareness.
Yep.
Yeah,
Amen to that. Amen to that.
exactly.
And man, I want to thank
Amen.
you all for just being here today. You know, before we totally end the show, I'm definitely going to go back around. And so at the beginning, we had 3 minutes to express who we are and how people can support you, right? But now I need you to do this in 60 seconds, right? Who's up for the 60-second challenge? So,
I'm
if I
ready.
may, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? We all on one accord. So, Heather, please, in 60 seconds, please remind them who you are, how they can support, or just, how they can support you. Whatever you want to say about yourself. 60 seconds,
So
please.
my name is Heather Klaus, and you can find me on all social medias at Heather with D as in diversified, F as in financial, S as in solutions. You can also uh, find me on my website at www.dfsllc.net. And then you can also email me at info at dfsllc.net. And I'm looking forward to networking with anyone that wants to know more information.
You heard that. Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Heather. And Benjamin, please, if you may, 60 seconds. Remind them who you are, how they can support you.
My name is Benjamin Scott. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Benjamin.Scott. You can also add me on Facebook under my name, Benjamin Scott. And also check me out on YouTube.com under Benjamin Scott Sneaker Jams, JAMZ, not SZ. And also on TikTok at Benjamin.Scott1988.
That way. I heard that. Thank you so much, Benjamin.
Hmm.
Crystal, yes, please.
Thank
And
you.
within 60 seconds, please remind them who you are and how they can
Chris-
support you.
Thank you, Crystal Nance. You can find me on Facebook with a blue check mark, Crystal Nance. And underneath it, you'll see like celebrity interview or whatever, blue check mark. Also, my biz, Rescue Angels at proton.me. You can hit me up on TikTok at the Lighthouse 23. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Thank you. And if I may, so what I do on this show, to end the show, and just remind you all just a short background of how this show started. It started off of turning a negative into a positive. And so after I survived my semi truck trailer car accident back in 2022, January 2022, this show was formulated because I took my pain and my anguish and everything, my stress, my PTSD, and I put it into something and I transferred it and converted it into building this show. I also built the show from her point of view talk show, and we've been going ever since. So what's important, the reason why I tell you this is because, tomorrow is not guaranteed, obviously. You know what I mean? We never know who's going to wake up tomorrow. And I pray that all of us continue to wake up tomorrow and the next day. And, it's whatever, however long God has for each of us. So I choose to use this platform and this show to remind you all that I love you and what I feel about each of you individually. So I'm going to start one, two, and three. So I'm in no particular order of who's more important than the other or who means what to me. I'm just starting where I'm starting. You hear what I'm saying? So I'm going to start with Heather. And I just want to say, Heather, thank you so much. I want to tell you I love you. I'm so grateful for your friendship, all of your support you have showed me. You have just been 10 toes down with me. And I said in management, you really went out your way from the time when I represented Chicago Bridge Magazine, used to do things to participate to help promote the publication. I want to let you know that I did not forget that. And I might not mention it, but I did not forget it. You know what I mean? I want to say thank you again for just always being a great supporter from the time that we were introduced through Cantone, shout out to Street Science Radio from Phil. You know what I mean? So if it wasn't for him, you know what I mean, you haven't, I wouldn't have had the pleasure to know you. You are a very outstanding person. You have a big heart for people. As a tax preparer, you have helped many people with their finances. That's a very important role that you have. You know what I mean? Doing people's taxes, you know what I'm saying? You've helped me get money back with my taxes, stuff like that. That was a big help when that money came in. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody like tax season when you get money back. So with that being said, I want to tell you thank you, Heather R. Klaus. And salute to everything that you're doing. I over appreciate you. And you already know you have my support all day long. I appreciate you. May God continue to watch over you and may you continue to have improved health and the cancer never returns. You know what I'm talking about? Because I
Yep.
said it that way.
Oh,
Woo,
I just want to
woo.
tell you, I got some great news. I
I,
got I got my chemo report taken out this week, so no more
Yes.
chemo report, and
yeah,
then I did not have to do the it was the radioactive iodine test, where basically I took some radioactive iodine and swallowed it as a pill, and then they did scans, and they're not doing that
Right.
this year. So thank goodness, I'm so happy. Hallelujah, praise the Lord! I don't have to go through
Woo.
that.
Yes,
amen,
yes,
amen,
yes,
amen.
yes.
Oh,
Amen. I'm glad to
Amen.
hear that. Amen to
So it
that.
is.
Um, Thank you for sharing that too, Heather.
yep, no
Glad you're
problem.
still with us.
Thank you.
Yep, you're
Yes.
gonna be around for a very, very much long time. Um, Benjamin, obviously I've known you as well, man, for I don't even know how many years now, but all I know is since day one, you've been a trooper. You know what I'm saying? You've been a friend, you've been a brother. You know what I mean? You've always showed up and been there. You know what I mean? And it obviously started with the fashion shows. It started with our connection through Angie and Dominique. And man, you've always done just a fabulous job. You bring a lot of energy to whatever room you step in. And energy is needed. Good, positive, big smiles is needed. When you be dancing and singing or whatever you do to express yourself in that moment when it's unexpected, it's needed. I want you to tell you that, what I'm saying, you help bring life to the situation, to the events that I've thrown. And I'm grateful that you've been a part of them. And I'm grateful that you're on board to be, going forward, man. You know what I mean? I want to let you know I'm so proud of you, man, for being someone who has autism, that where no one knows what that's like unless you have that condition. And you've already excelled. And like I said earlier, you have superseded what anybody have expected of you. You know what I'm saying? You are a great speaker, a great host, a great model, you know what I mean? Dancer, singer, you know what I'm saying? You play instruments too, let me find out. I don't know yet, but you play the instrument.
As a matter of fact, I do play every instrument. I play the guitar, I play the
Wow,
clarinet, I
look at
play
that.
the
Hmm.
drums, the tambourine, the recorder, you name it, I got it all.
That way. I should have known. I should have known. Man of many talents, you know what I mean? Can't wait. And why we are gonna talk about that. You're gonna have to play some instruments at some of these upcoming events. You know what I'm saying? We got to make that happen. But with that being said, thank you, Benjamin. Sincerely, brother to brother. You know what I'm saying? For everything you've done for me and all your support, man. I want to let you know I love you. And man, may God continue to watch over you and all of your family and friends. And you continue to stand strong. And I know the situation with, um you being out here basically solo dolo, but man, you are incredible, man, and have become a huge leader. And just keep up the great work, man. And you already know you got my support. May God continue to watch over you and all your family and friends, man. God bless you. Thank you so much, man.
It's always a pleasure, and I love you too.
Yes, sir. Amen to that. One love. And Crystal, thank you so much, Queen. You know what I mean? I haven't known you for long, out of everyone, I've known you for the shortest time, but it doesn't feel like it when we talk. It feels like, we've known each other for a lifetime because that's because I do believe in reincarnation. And I believe that maybe, in the last life, maybe we were good friends, maybe we were husband and wife, maybe we were brother and sister. Maybe you was my mom, maybe I was your dad. Who knows? Like I know I'm
Mhm.
reaching right now, right? But
I,
but
I
hey,
I
you
believe
never
the same
know.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's how it be though. That's how it be. Like when people be so close, you wonder somehow how can someone meet someone for the first time and instantly you feel like this. You know what I mean? And that's how it felt when I talked to you and the conversations we had. So thank you for your support. I'm proud of you for everything that you do in the community and just helping people and just caring for people, loving on people, because that's important. You know what I mean? And when even in the beginning of the show, you know what I mean, you use your time to speak highly and to empower us and remind us of what, and you not even knowing how I end this show. You didn't not even knowing them what I was gonna say at the end, but it was like you was on the same wavelength and that's the same type of energy. So I just appreciate you. And I'm grateful for you. May God continue to watch over you and all your family and friends. And just keep going. You're doing an excellent job. And you already know you have my support. With that being said, thank you all, and thank you for everyone who has tuned in today for another great episode of the Square Table Talk Show, where you can get back in your square only at the Square Table with me, celebrity interviewer I Said It, and the legendary Mimie Acosta. Again, shout out to my co-host Mimie Acosta, who could not be here due to emergency, but she's in our prayers. And she wanted me to tell you all that she appreciates everyone for the support, and that she will be contacting each and every one of you individually just to say thank you and to see how you all we can network, continue. So you already know that, I'm here. And I look forward to just continue to network with each of you all. You know what I mean? And
Likewise. Thank you.
Every
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, thank you, family, because you guys are family. So thank you. Please make sure they get my information and my phone
Okay,
number. Okay. Thank you.
I will.
And I want you to come on my show as well. I said it. This ain't it. It is ongoing, and all you just keep repping, keep shining light, man. Just keep shining light
Okay.
and love.
right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody enjoy their night. Be safe
Okay.
with your travels. Benjamin, I understand you traveling. Thank you for pulling over so that
Yeah.
we could do this show. I really appreciate that. So it'd be a quiet background. But man, enjoy your night, ladies. Benjamin,
Yeah.
sir. All right. Peace and love and salute.
Peace and love.
One
Salute.
love.
Yep.
And hey,
One
and if
love.
anybody asks, I said it that way.
That's right. I said it.
One,
Yeah.
one
Peace
love.
and
One
love.
love.
Yep.
Peace, y'all.
Love your
Yep.
family.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye for now. That's right. See you
Yep.
guys
Bye
later.
for
Take it
now.
Thank
easy.
you. Bye for now.
Talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.